Puman virajeta vina pashugna. Vishesh. Bhavo sadacho dramano virama. Bhavo sadacho dramano virama. Puman virajeta vina pashugna.
Damayanti Prabhu. Ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat.
Puman virajeta vina pashugana.
Translation altogether. Glorification. Oh, what word? Sorry. Nivritta. Released from. Tarsha hai. Lust or material activities. Upagiya manad. Which is described or sung. Bhava aushad. Which is the right medicine for the material disease. Srotra. The process of oral reception. Manah. The subject matter of thought for the mind. Abhiramat. From the pleasing vibrations from such glorification. Kaha. Who. Uttam Shloka. Of the personality of Godhead. Guna Anuvadat. From describing such activities. Puman. A person. Virajeta. Can keep himself aloof. Vina. Except. Pashugnat. Either a butcher or one who is killing his own personal existence. Translation altogether. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those who are no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of cosmic manifestation. Description of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned souls undergoing repeated birth and death. Since hearing such a glorification of the Lord, except a butcher or one who is himself. Yes. It's a long purport. I will give an overview of the purport and we'll go through the purport together. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is describing about the qualification of the speaker and the qualification of the hearer. That's the first thing that he's mentioning. And going further, he's describing how Krishna Leela is aushadhat, is medicine for the people in Kali Yuga. Even though he mentions, even though willingly or unwillingly, if they hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra or Krishna Katha, it will benefit them. And further, he explains about relationship between guru and disciple. What qualifies a guru? What qualifies a good disciple? And he also describes about how karmi take bhakti. What are the motivations of karmis going to Krishna, and then bhaktas? What are the difference between these two? So this was a summary of the purport. We will go through the purport. Like, I will read the purport and I will share some thoughts. Sorry, Maharaj? I don't know what that means. Oh, okay. No, it's like 3 pages. It will be a movie. In India, it is practiced among the general population to hear about Krishna, either from Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. In order to gain relief from such disease of repeated birth and death, although India is now fallen, when there is a message that someone will speak about Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, thousands of people still gather to hear. This verse indicates, however, that such recitation of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam must be done by persons completely freed from material desires. Nivritta tarshah. Everyone within this material world, beginning from Brahma. Okay, we'll get here going forward. But yes, Srila Prabhupada is talking about what are the qualifications of speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. It's Nivritta Tarshah. So I was thinking, like, what is my qualification of speaking Bhagavatam? And I remember Srila Prabhupada, one of the lectures of Srila Prabhupada, he's talking about just repeat what I'm saying, just repeat my words, read my books and just repeat what I'm saying as it is. So we were reading Science of Self-Realization yesterday, and there was a mention of iron rod. Iron rod is not fire, but when it is kept inside fire for a long time, it has all the qualities of fire. So similarly, when we hear from pure devotee, Shabd Brahman, it descends through our ears into our hearts. That's why live classes are very, very important. And yes, following Guru Parampara. In the shloka also, Srila Prabhupada mentions about the importance of Guru Parampara. Whenever we distribute books, especially upstairs, we always, especially I like to always talk about what is special about this Bhagavad Gita. There are, in Bhagavad Gita introduction, Srila Prabhupada is talking about how there are more than 700 Bhagavad Gitas. Reading Bhagavad Gita, people are becoming businessmen, people are becoming, they want to go into other planets, they're becoming astronauts, but no one was becoming Bhakta. That was the concern of Srila Prabhupada. What is Bhagavad Gita meant for? So that's why from Parampara system, Srila Prabhupada writes that what is special in this Bhagavad Gita is it is as it is, from Parampara, straight from Krishna, as he described to Brahma. And yes, do it in this paragraph. It is very important that whenever you speak, I like how when in Bhakti Academy we sit for reading. I never did that in when I was doing Bhakti. I was trying to do Bhakti in various parts, in various aspects of my life. I never prayed before reading. I never prayed before doing anything. Just we open the book and just we read. But here, this is the culture of praying. In every aspect of life, we pray. I remember when we were doing interviews and we went to Vishaka Prabhu's house. It was an interview. Just you sit down and you speak. She went to her altar and for 5 minutes she prayed. Please, this is very. She prayed a lot. I was like, wow. I thought, and then we also pray that And now whenever I do, so this is how we get inspired. Now whenever I do editing, whenever I do anything, please inspire me, please help me. So yes, pray to Guru Parampara. So this is very important. When you speak Srimad Bhagavatam, speak as it is. And we were at Dharmapran Prabhu's house, and he was talking about how he distributed books on airport. And he was talking about that whole day we were there. Some day they took book, some day they didn't. I sometimes slept there. Then I asked him, that what motivates you to take up such a service. Sometimes you're sleeping there, and he was telling that sometimes people will kick us out, but we'll get up and we'll go there. So I was asking them that, like, what motivates Prabhupada disciples, what motivates us as devotees? He was like, Prabhupada. It was Prabhupada only. He was like, so yes, he was doing it for his guru. When we do it for Prabhupada, when we do it for Parampara, there is a certain kind of detachment in it. I remember when His Grace Vaishnavi Prabhu was here, everybody was, and now still, it's the energy that he gave. I can still see it's running down, and there was a consciousness of, in the morning program, he will hear that how we did these books, he will be so pleased. Everybody was doing it for Guru, everybody was doing it for Parampara, for Prabhupada. So if this is our mindset, okay, I'm doing this for my Guru. I remember when after initiation, people take alms, bhiksha. Yes. So a lot of people ask for bhiksha, and I kept my bead bag downstairs. I was like, okay, nobody will come because it's over. But then Deenatarini Prabhu came to me. She was like, Prabhu, bhiksham dehi. And I was like, give me alms. Prabhu, I just kept everything downstairs. She could have gone, but she was not doing for herself. You know what she said? Please, for my Guru. She was amazing. Please. He was begging. This is not for me. This is for my Guru. So I ran down, like, yes, this is for your Guru. I was so motivated. I was so inspired. And I immediately wrote down that whenever we do things, even in book distribution, we should write this, and this is for my Guru. And then it's very easy to beg when this is for a Guru. Yes, importance of Guru Parampara, following it, doing it for Guru, speaking for the Parampara, and just echoing their words. Going further, Srila Prabhupada is talking about everyone within this material world, beginning from Brahma down to insignificant ant, is full of material desires for sense enjoyment, and everyone is busy in sense gratification. But when thus engaged, one cannot fully understand the value of Krishna Katha, either in the form of Bhagavad Gita or in Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a very, very beautiful song regarding this. Everything within this material world, beginning from Brahma down to insignificant ant, is full of material desires. Anyone remembers the lines?
Is it from Madhurama?
Yes, it is.
The second verse, how does it start?
I don't know. You know? Yes. Yes, here. Nice. When we reach, that's why it is. I always used to wonder that why everyone said that everything is in Srila Prabhupada Purports. When we read it, every song he mentioned indirect form, sometimes indirectly. He mentioned he was mentioning Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, songs of Acharyas, quotation from Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So that's why everything, when we read, when I was hearing that when we go deep down in Srila Prabhupada's purports, first of all we have to have faith that everything is in Srila Prabhupada's purport. We don't need to go anywhere else. And when we read it, and we will find a lot of gems in Prabhupada's purports. Yes. The beautiful song, Brahma Stamba Paryantam Sarvamaya Mayam Jagat. I was so astonished that how explicitly in this song, it is said that from Brahma to Ant, you have no shelter. Everything is material. I was like, wow. It was so great. It was so eye-opening that you have no shelter. You go anywhere. Everything is material. Everything is running by the material energy. And then again it says, everything is reflection. Again, in reading, we were reading about 15.1, Bhagavad Gita 15.1. Anybody knows the shloka? Urdhav moolam adha shakam, shvatham prahur avyam. Urdhav moolam, it's upside down, like a reflection of a tree. That's what I can remember. So yes, it's a reflection. And we were walking down when we were doing Sankirtan and went to take something. So we were pointing out to the mannequins. Like, see, there are mannequins. And we were discussing how Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his purpose that amazing example of mannequins, that we see mannequins, we know, we have conviction, it's a mannequin, it doesn't have life. And thus we don't get attached to it. When was the last time that we saw a mannequin and like, so beautiful, I'm going to marry this mannequin, or I'm going to be with this mannequin for lifetime. We know in conviction. In Srimad Bhagavatam introduction, I've just started, by the inspiration of His Grace Vaishnavi Prabhu, I thought I should read Bhagavatam, and then I just started Bhagavatam, and it's very, very good that when we give classes or when we discuss, it helps, it brings back all the memories of what you read. And now I forgot what I was saying. Anyways, come on. What Prabhupada was talking about?
You were saying you just started the introduction of Bhagavatam.
Yes. About mannequins. Yes, self-realization. Prabhupada gives the definition of self-realization as when you know that you're not this body and you're not this subtle mind, with conviction. With conviction, you know. Just as we see mannequin, no, but it doesn't matter. Whoever comes and say to us, see this mannequin has life. We know it doesn't. With this, and that's why we hear it again and again. We hear Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very important. Why we are hearing this again and again. A lot of shlokas repeating. A lot of books of Prabhupada. We should hear it again and again. It will help us. Not now, but in the time of difficulty, it will suddenly come in front. And that's why again in the same song, it's what was again and again, hear it again and again. This also, yes. Diyatam karno giyatam vacha niyatam vacha giyatam nityam, always harinameva kevalam. Yes, niyatam vacha. We should hear Srimad Bhagavatam again and again, and we will realize it, that whenever we hear in the time of difficulties, it suddenly, some of the Prabhupada examples, some of the purports, it will come. So Krishna Katha, it's very important. Here, he's finally had so many questions, and now he's inquiring about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.5, it was celebrated when sages asked the question. The word is Krishna Prashno, and the translation goes as, whenever we have a question regarding Krishna, regarding the absolute truth, then we can get satisfied. So this is the introduction of Bhagavatam, which is going to be very beautiful, because in the starting, he's questioning about Krishna. Straight, not about any Karam Kanda, not about how I can get good birth, wealth, admiration. Straight, he's going for the Supreme. So yes, importance of hearing, and importance of hearing again and again. This is described. If we hear the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead from liberated persons, this hearing will certainly free us from the bondage of material activities. But hearing Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by professional reciters cannot actually help us achieve liberation. Krishna Katha is very simple. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As he himself explains, Matah Paratram Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. O Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Simply by understanding this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become a liberated person. This is the difference between when a bhakta writes purports and when a professional writer recites. He will touch every, Sri Prabhupada describes it every time that he will touch every topic except that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here in the purpose of Prabhupada, in every purport it's only one thing. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the difference between professional writers, professional reciters, and the pure devotee of the Lord. But especially in this age, because people are interested in hearing Bhagavad Gita from unscrupulous persons who depart from the simple presentation of Bhagavad Gita and distort it for their personal satisfaction, they fail to derive the real benefit. They are big scholars, politicians, philosophers, and scientists who speak on Bhagavad Gita in their own polluted way. And people in general hear from them, being uninterested in hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from a devotee. A devotee is one who has no other motive for reciting Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam than to serve the Lord. There is a word for this when we have no other motive. Anybody knows the word? Yes, unalloyed. Yeah. And in Sanskrit? I don't know what that means. Maybe the right answer.
Sir, I don't know, it's a shloka from the devotion Sarthak. Paratvena, Tatparatvena,
Yeah. You make me forget what was the word. The word was ahetuki, yes, and zero motivation, like no other motivation, no other alternative motive. Anya abhilashita shunyam, zero. Anya abhilash, any other motive, they don't have any other motive, just to glorify Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore advised us to hear the glories of the Lord from realized persons. Bhagavata parodiya bhagavata sthani. Unless one is personally a realized soul in the science of Krishna consciousness, a neophyte should not approach him to hear about the Lord. For this strictly forbidden by Sri Sanatana Goswami, who quotes from Padma Puran. Everyone together, please. Avaishnava mukhoti krinam uttam hari kathamritam Shravanam Yathapya. One should avoid hearing from a person not situated in Vaishnava behavior. A Vaishnava is Nivritta Trishna. That is, he has no material purpose. For his only purpose is to preach Krishna consciousness. So-called scholars, philosophers, and politicians exploit the importance of Bhagavad Gita by distorting its meaning for their own purpose. Therefore, this verse warns that Krishna Katha should be recited by a person who is Nivritta Trishna. Sukadeva Goswami epitomizes the proper reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Parikshit Maharaj, who purposely left his kingdom and family prior to meeting death, epitomizes that person fit to hear. A qualified reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam gives the right medicine, Bhava Shuddhi. This is a very nice word, Bhava Shuddhi. We say Bhava Sagar, pool of ocean of material existence, material miseries. Bhava Aushadhi, Aushadhi means medicine. Bhava Aushadhi is Krishna Katha is Bhava Aushadhi. And for the conditioned souls, the Krishna consciousness movement is therefore trying to train qualified preachers to recite Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita through the entire world, so that people in general in all parts of the world may take advantage of this movement and thus be relieved from the threefold of material existence. This is also mentioned in Science of Self-Realization in starting, that this movement is meant for training. And Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a doctor. They just do not become a doctor. So when we come to devotional service, we are a Brahmana now. It requires a training. So this program he's giving the definition. One of the definitions of ISKCON is training to become. I'm making brahmanas. Shilpad used to say, I'm making brahmanas. I'm making gentlemen. So we come here to train so that we will be nivritta trishna, so that finally we can recite Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita as it is. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita and descriptions of Srimad Bhagavatam are so pleasing that almost anyone suffering from the threefold of miseries of material existence will desire to hear the glories of the Lord from these books and thus benefit from the path of liberation. Two classes of men, however, will never be interested in hearing Bhagavatam, hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Sorry. Those who are determined to commit suicide and those determined to kill cows and other animals for the satisfaction of their own tongues. Although such persons may make the show of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, this is another creation of the karmis who cannot derive any benefit from such performances. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Shlok 2, Sripad mentions about the karmis and how I was also thinking about this, and I will bring this topic up because as devotees, Prabhupada gives the example of when we turn a fan is still moving. So we have some of the impressions of karmi life. We have sometimes it's come forward. So when we read about people from outside, karmis, we don't think of ours like okay, they and us. But we should also think that some of the particles might be in me too. We have to be very careful. And Srila talks about how in material world there is a rivalry of senses to satisfy the senses. Not only to satisfy the senses, rivalry. If I'm satisfying my senses, I will make sure that you don't. This is okay. If everybody was about to satisfy your own senses, do your own good, but no, envy, age of Kali Yuga, age of envy. Srila used to say, society without envy. This is my society. And yes, so we should have correct understanding of Srila talks about Srila in that purport 1.1.2 talks about the motivation of a karmi, that sometimes he comes to bhakti for the satisfaction of the senses, and when he gets this satisfaction from somewhere else, he goes somewhere else. His motivation was he sees bhaktas, I think they're satisfying their senses. He comes, some people leave. Why? Their motive was to satisfy their senses. And Srila says, if they are completing this motive by watching movies, if they're completing this motive by drinking alcohol, they will go there because the motive was to satisfy the senses. So as devotees, we should be very careful about what our motive is in bhakti. I was asking Dinatarni Prabhu about what do you think? What should be our motive, our base? Because sometimes then we will not leave bhakti. Himanshu Prabhu was talking about that. Somebody asked His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj that what is in Shiv Shashtakam, what is the most important shloka? And Trinadapi Suni Chena, he always quotes this shloka, Maharaj always quotes this shloka, this is the very important shloka. And everybody was expecting this shloka, that this should be Maharaj just likes shloka. Maharaj liked this shloka very much. And he's like, no, the most important and epitome of bhakti is Ashilleshava Padratam, Pinishtumam, Maramatam, Kurutuva, Yatha Tata Vidadhatu Lampato, Mat Pranatastun Sarnev Naprava. Whatever you do, O my Lord, Maro vi rakho vi jo ichha tumhara. You make me live, you make me die. That's your. So, our motive to come in bhakti should not be sense gratification. That's why people stay. That's why bhaktas stay. Because if they're not, sometimes they will feel very, very, very. Sometimes something happens and they feel very sad, but they will not leave bhakti because that was not the goal, satisfying their senses. So, this is my question. What do you think should be the right motivation to come into bhakti? Anyone? Yes.
To get to know ourselves, the real self, which is the real self is covered by all the layers of different anarthas, but to uncover that and get to know us.
Yes. to know a real self. Yes, Prabhu.
Just being a little inquisitive and wise, knowing that like how everything is changing. Like I changed, I was a toddler, and then how I was a teenager, and then now I'm an adult, and someday I'll be an old woman, and then another day I'll be a skeleton. So all these transitions are happening, everything is changing, nothing is permanent. There must be something, or just being inquisitive, who is controlling all this, like who is deciding that the color of the plants would be green, and why it won't be anything else, why green, and why, like someone is operating, so just being inquisitive and
Inquisitive, yes.
yeah.
Yes, to know oneself. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, just expanding on that point, to know ourselves and then to know God, to know Krishna, and then to know the relationship between us and God. What is that? So that could be a good motivation to come to Bhakti.
Yes. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport of introduction, in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, that he was talking about how when we go beyond this body, we go beyond this subtle mind. And he gives a lot of definitions of self-realization. A lot of people have different varieties of definitions of self-realization in the material world. That if we see ourselves as Atma, exactly when we see ourselves as Atma, on the side is Paramatma. So it's like if we see ourselves, if we know ourselves, we will see that, oh, there's Paramatma. So knowing ourselves and knowing the relationship between Atma and Paramatma, the relationship, it's about relationship, it's about supreme personality of Godhead. When you have two personalities, you have relationship between them. Any more answers? We'll move forward. Yes, in coming purport, Prabhupada is talking about Pashugnath, animal killer, and Prabhupada also describes animal killer in two ways. This is the same as in Bhagavatam also. That animal killer means killing of other animals and killing of ourselves. This is the animal suicide. Going forward, he describes Narottam Das Thakur's prayers. Manushya Janma Paya. Yeah, you can speak. Very good. Yeah. Janiya Shuniya Vish Khaya. Yeah, this is like suicide. This is the definition of suicide. And in Gita Govind, it is mentioned, even though animal sacrifices are sanctioned in Vedic ceremonies, men who kill animals for such ceremonies are considered butchers. Butchers cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness, for they are already materially allured. Their only interest lies in developing comforts for temporary body. Yes, developing comforts for temporary body. Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam tapaharatta chetasam vyavasatmika buddhi samadhuna vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached for sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Prabhupada is also talking about that we cannot understand Bhagavatam, we cannot understand Bhagavad Gita or the Lord when we are too focused on developing comforts for the temporary body. This is a beautiful prayer of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj, where he says, he's asking Lord that I don't want Dhanajanayara Kavita Sundari Boli Bona Chahi Deha Sukha Kari. I don't want Dhanajana, Dhan, wealth, and Jana, aristocratic birth or birth in a good family. Dhanajanayara Kavita, I don't want to be a philosopher, a great philosopher. Sundari, I don't want women, I don't want comforts of opposite gender. Boli bona chahi deha sukh kari. This is all for just temporary body. And what he demands? Janme janme dau Shri Gaura Hari Ahe tu ki bhakti charne tumhara. Yes, janme janme, for birth after birth. Kabhe habe bolo se dinamar. I always see Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj. He's so serious. He's like this, or sitting like this. We can never, only by glorification of his life, only by the way they write songs, we know his bhav. Otherwise, how could we know that inside what is going on? Inside he's crying, and outside he must be like, when he was a very
He was a
magistrate, a collector. He was a magistrate, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yes, I'm talking about him. It was his song,
Yeah.
his bhajan.
It's his appearing state in love.
Oh, nice. So, yeah, he must be very vigilant. He must be very, strict. Sometimes we never know a bhava of a Vaishnava until we dive deep into his songs. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, I haven't read, or it may be in his books, if he's talking about Srila Rupa Goswami or not. But he talks about, in a song, he talks about Shri Rupa Manjari Pad. I was like, what? He has such love for Srila Rupa Goswami. I didn't know that. They will never tell you. Srila Prabhupada will never tell you anything. He will, okay, this is this. Okay, I'm talking. But when he wrote a song, Nachao Prabhu. Now we know his bhav, how transcendental. He will never say, Kriyo Krishna. He will never, express himself only through songs, only through poems. Vaishnavas explain themselves. If one understands, they will give you everything. Shilpa said, I have given you everything in my books. Everything you want to know, but you have to find out where it is. Just connect the dots and relish when we connect these dots, when we read purports, when we find something, and when we remember the bhajan, when we remember shloka. This is churning, this is manthan. We dive deep. Dive deep. Wow. Dive deep into Shastras. Yes, Bhog Aishwarya Prasakta Nam. I was learning what you were teaching? That Udaro Vegam. What was that? No. What it is called? Nectar of Instructions. Yes. Himanshu Babu was learning Nectar of Instructions, and I requested him, like, give me some points out of it. What is the sar? What is the cream of it? Summary. Yes. And he was talking about, and something came like, don't collect too much and over endeavoring. And I was like, and he was mentioning that somebody asked, like, what is over endeavoring? How we know that we have collected too much? How we know that we have?
How much is too much?
Yes, how much is too much? And then Prabhu said, it's not about quantity. It's about our consciousness. We see a lot of devotees. They are CEOs. They are very rich, but their consciousness is always in Krishna consciousness. Always in Krishna. No matter how much they collect. And sometimes, if I'm doing a job, my whole okay, this I have to save for this. I have to do this. Even in like $1,000, I'm very much into. For me, $1,000 is too much because my consciousness is not ready. And for some people, even $1 million, they don't care because their consciousness. Too much. How much is too much is described. What is your consciousness? Yes, Bhog Aishwarya. This is very important. And it's almost over. Anyone who is not Krishna conscious and who therefore does not engage in the service of the Lord is a Pashubhna. If he is willingly drinking poison, such a person cannot be interested in Krishna Katha because he still has a desire for material sense gratification. He is not Nivritta Trishna. It is said, Trivirgas te Purusha Vimukha Hari Medasa. Those interested in three varga, that is Dharma, Artha, Kama, are religious for the sake of achieving, religious are only for the sake of achieving material position, with which to gain better facilities for sense gratification. Some of the, yes. Okay, yeah. Prabhupada is talking about, again, he's hammering the fact of don't do religious activities to gratify senses, and giving the examples, which some people do it to gain better facilities for sense gratification. Going forward, just one page, Srila Prabhupada talks about the word Uttam Shloka, which is very good. Uttam Shloka, and Uttam Shloka means who is sung. We also have like Uttam Shloka in the starting also. Yes, in the not by any shloka. He is described by Uttam Shloka, one of the best poems, one of the best shlokas. So he is Krishna. Uttam Shlok. There are a lot of names of Krishna which are very attractive that we should all know. And then Srila Prabhupada in the last page is talking about the power of Krishna Katha. After talking about hearer, speaker, about what should not we do, what should not be done. Then he talks about the power of Krishna Katha. Willingly or unwillingly, if we hear Krishna Katha, we just sit in. When His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu came, he quoted this verse. He liked this verse a lot. The word, I remember the word, it's like Jivanam. Just live in Krishna consciousness. Just live, just stay. Like, yes. And yeah, yesterday somebody was asking like how to surrender to Krishna. Last point, how to surrender to Krishna. Jivanam. Just stay. When you come to the ashram, when you stay, you don't have to ask for anything. Either happiness or even miseries or even self-realization, it will come. It will come, yes. You will be, if you will surrender, or you will be, forced to surrender to Krishna. You will have nowhere to go. When I had work, last example I'm giving you, almost time. When I had work, I left my work. Everybody was, when you leave work, you have good relationship with people. Okay, I'm leaving work, maybe I come back. So you have this, okay, maybe if this doesn't work out, I will come back. So I don't know what I did, that I think I left in between without telling anyone or without giving a proper notice or something. So like, they were so mad at me, and I was like, oh my God, now I have no shelter. I cannot go back now. So you will be forced to surrender. And yes, I had a good point, but I forgot. Yes, surrender. Where there is love, I was listening to one Maharaj, where there is love, then there is surrender. You cannot surrender to, either your surrender will be conditional or partial, but where there is love, there is surrender. This can be a surrender. I have nowhere to go because they were mad at me, now I'm coming here. This conditional surrender. But now here, I'm here, you should develop love, and finally from love, if the surrender comes, then it's yatha tatha vidathatu lampato mat pranatastu sevna para. Hare Krishna, thank you. Any corrections? We have 2 minutes. Any corrections? Any questions?
Marwan, would you like to?
You gave the image of the iron, wrought iron in the fire, and becoming like the fire. The image that came to my mind, has anybody ever taken a, what do you call it? Okay, sweat lodge. You ever gone to a sweat lodge, anybody? Oh, you're not Canadian. Have you been to a sweat lodge? Okay. The vision is people, they just think like a dome type thing, and you go inside, and there's a big rock, big stone, and you burn it for a few hours, and it starts getting red. The whole thing turns red. So you go in there and you splash water on it to get the steam going. And then you sweat like anything. And then after that, you come outside, you roll in the snow. You jump in the lake. And then you go back in again. Anyways, the image just came to my mind about how we are to become one with devotion. Just know there's no difference between us and Krishna in a sense. Totally purified. That's the idea. So my mind flashed back to that time when we had sweat lodge. Maybe that's something BA should.
We all should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a time somewhere. That would be very nice. Okay.
Yes, becoming, yes. You said this example. One thing that came to my mind was in one of the stutis. Okay, in Bhishma Stuti, Bhishma Devi is talking about how Bhishma Devi is talking about how gopis are doing drama for Krishna, remembering Krishna. He's doing drama. Kritamanu kritavatya unmadandha prakriti magna kilayasya gopavadva. He's doing drama for Krishna, and in that drama, they were so absorbed that the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the gopis were not different. So this is the power of Kritamanu kritavatya. This is the power of when we do pious dramas, we can feel those vibrations. We can actually go, when we read, we hear. Next step is you go into it. That's how beautiful it is. The third step is do drama. Yes, thank you.
What happens if somebody plays anger or envy? Do they become that?
Yeah, it's like what not to do.
It was nice to hear that in ashram residents they have this kind of discussion about how surrendered I am. How do I surrender? So, whatever you mentioned is amazing. There's one more thing that Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, I think chapter 22, talks about surrender. There are 6 divisions of surrender. They're very near navigation for everyone. Like, if you just write it down and put it near your bed, and every day you wake up, look at it, and every day when you go back and just assess, did I do all these 6 things? That allows you to track that how much you need to work on to let go of something and surrender. So that's very nice.
What was it?
It's Madhya Leela, chapter 22. I'll send the verse.
I have the verse I heard yesterday.
Yeah, it's like, for example, the first one is accepting anything which is favorable for devotional service, meaning prasad and devotee sangha. Second is rejecting anything which is not favorable for devotional service, right? Like cigarettes, breaking 4 regs, or associating with anyone who is envious of the Lord. So all these things are not. Let's say I want to wake up until late in the night. That will not allow you to wake up for Mangalarti. So this is something which is not favorable. So like this, there are 6 divisions, and they're really amazing. They really help you track your own progress, and you'll usually find yourself maybe 10% or 20% in it.
Yeah, Chaitanya Charitamrita is really amazing.
Yeah, I'll send you verse.
It's concentrated of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
It's very yeah. Hare Krishna.
Anchal, Kripa,